There are truths about women that society prefers to leave in the shadows, not because they are malicious, but because they reveal the silent architecture behind human behavior. These truths shape attraction, loyalty, conflict, and the emotional gravity that pulls two people together or tears them apart. Most men feel these forces but cannot name them. They sense patterns but cannot decode them. Tonight, that changes. Before we dive into the full list, we begin with the first three facts, the ones that set the stage for everything that follows. 1. Women respond to emotional energy more than logical intention. You can say all the right words, but if your energy contradicts them, the emotional signal wins. Emotional reality outweighs verbal reality. 2. Women detect micro-expressions up to 3 times faster than men. This is an evolutionary artifact of safety. A subtle shift in your tone or posture reveals more about you than an entire conversation. 3. Women unconsciously test men to verify stability, not to create conflict. A test is not a trap, it is a calibration. She measures who you are, not who you pretend to be. These truths are uncomfortable because they reveal a deeper asymmetry in how men and women process the world. Men navigate through statements, women navigate through signals. Men look for rules, women feel for coherence. And once you see this, the confusion dissolves. The invisible becomes visible. The behavior that once felt chaotic suddenly makes sense, because you're no longer watching the surface, but the psychology beneath it. Here begins the unveiling of the 21 dark psychological facts you were never meant to understand. Most men assume women make decisions based on preference, convenience, or emotion of the moment. But deeper forces shape their behavior. Forces rooted in evolutionary psychology, subconscious pattern recognition, and the constant scanning of subtle cues. When you understand these hidden mechanisms, her actions stop feeling unpredictable and begin to reveal a consistent internal logic. Here are the next 4 dark psychology facts. 4. Women judge long-term potential faster than men. Often within seconds, a man evaluates attraction first. A woman evaluates trajectory. She senses whether your life is moving upward or stagnating before you even speak. 5. Women are more influenced by how you make them feel than by what you offer. Security, excitement, emotional clarity, these weigh more heavily than material stability or verbal promises. 6. Women remember emotional inconsistencies with extreme precision. A moment of weakness isn't the problem. The contradiction between your words and behavior is. Inconsistency triggers distrust faster than failure. 7. Women can sense suppressed insecurity before you are aware of it yourself. They notice micro-hesitations, subtle changes in breathing, shifts in eye focus, signals your own mind hides from you. These mechanisms are not manipulation, they are adaptations. Women evolved to read the emotional landscape for safety, stability, and truth. What feels like intuition is actually pattern detection at remarkable speed. If this is already opening your mind, consider liking this video. It helps the channel reach more people who need this kind of clarity. To understand the next layer of dark psychology, we turn to a fascinating behavioral study rarely discussed outside academic circles. Researchers placed men and women in a controlled social environment and observed their unconscious responses. The results exposed patterns most men never notice, but women navigate effortlessly. As the experiment unfolded, one theme became undeniable. Women interpret behavior through emotional subtext, not literal expression. This leads us to the next set of facts. 8. Women react more strongly to emotional tone than to the actual words spoken. "I'm here" feels more truthful than an anxious "I love you." Tone reveals intent. 9. Women sense when a man's confidence is borrowed, not embodied. External displays, money, style, bravado, crumble instantly if the internal architecture is weak. 10. Women mirror the emotional state of the man they trust most. If you are grounded, she becomes grounded. If you panic, her nervous system follows. 11. Women subconsciously categorize men into protector, partner, or placeholder. Your behavior, especially under pressure, determines the category, often permanently. During the study, one moment stood out. A man mentioned feeling tired, and the women's micro-expressions shifted instantly, reading exhaustion not as weakness, but as emotional transparency. They decoded more from that single word than he intended to reveal. This is the hidden architecture of perception, subtle, rapid, intuitive. And if you're fascinated by the hidden architecture of human behavior, subscribe to Inner Truth Lab so you don't miss the next insights. There is a moment, usually in every man's life, when he realizes something unsettling. Women are not responding to what he thinks he's showing, but to what he cannot hide. This is where dark psychology becomes unavoidable, because it forces you to confront the truth that your inner world is always broadcasting, even when your mouth is silent. Here are the next 4 facts, the ones that begin to reveal the core mechanism behind female perception. 12. Women feel emotional dissonance before they can logically explain it. If something in you is misaligned, she senses the offness instantly, long before she finds the words to describe it. 13. Women subconsciously test boundaries to confirm emotional stability. A test is never about the situation itself. It's about the psychological structure behind your reaction. 14. Women lose attraction not from failure, but from a man collapsing under pressure. Your mistakes rarely matter as much as your response to them. Emotional resilience is a primal signal of safety. 15. Women trust consistency more than intensity. Grand gestures mean little if they aren't supported by steady behavior. Stability is more attractive than passion alone. And this leads to a revelation most men never see until it's too late. Women are not seeking perfection. They are seeking coherence. When your internal world contradicts your external presentation, she feels the fracture. Not as judgment, but as instinct. This is the turning point in the narrative, where the dynamic stops looking mysterious and begins to reveal its underlying law. Women are not reading your words. They are reading the psychological gravity behind them. By now, the patterns are no longer abstract. They are visible, tangible, almost impossible to unsee. But knowledge without application changes nothing. To navigate these psychological dynamics ethically and effectively, you must understand how they appear in real life. The next 3 facts reveal the behavioral consequences of everything uncovered so far. 16. Women are more influenced by what you tolerate than by what you say. Your boundaries communicate your identity. If you allow disrespect, inconsistency, or emotional chaos, you silently announce that you lack self-respect. 17. Women become anxious when a man's direction becomes uncertain. Uncertainty in your path creates instability in her nervous system. You don't need to have everything figured out, but you must move with intention. 18. Women follow emotional leadership, not verbal leadership. Telling her to relax, trust, or stop worrying means nothing if your energy is tense, reactive, or scattered. She reads the emotional truth, not the instruction. These are not strategies. They are calibrations of self. Because the psychology you project is not optional. It is the loudest part of you. So the practical shift is simple, but not easy. Become consistent in your emotional responses. Communicate boundaries calmly. Move in a direction, even if imperfect. Build a presence that reduces anxiety rather than amplifying it. Let your behavior validate your words, not contradict them. Many men realize at this stage that the real work is not understanding women. It is understanding themselves through the mirror women naturally provide. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever witnessed one of these patterns in yourself or someone close to you? Your perspective may help someone reading. As we approach the final stretch of these psychological revelations, a necessary line must be drawn. Knowledge this deep is powerful, and power without ethics becomes corrosion. Many men, upon learning about female perceptual sensitivity, are tempted to twist it into strategy. But manipulation is not mastery, it is dependency disguised as strength. Here are the next 2 facts, the ones most often misunderstood, misused, or dangerously oversimplified. 19. Women shut down emotionally the moment they sense hidden agendas. Even the slightest hint of manipulation, guilt, pressure, emotional baiting, activates her self-protection systems. Once activated, trust becomes extremely difficult to rebuild. 20. Women mirror the integrity of the man they emotionally attach to. If you lie, she becomes suspicious. If you stay grounded, she becomes calm. If you project insecurity, she becomes reactive. Your inner landscape becomes the emotional environment she must live in. And this brings us to the ethical truth most men never hear. The psychology that allows you to influence a woman is the same psychology that will expose you if you are not aligned. You cannot hide emotional incoherence. You cannot fake groundedness for long. You cannot build stability on manipulation. It collapses under its own weight. Dark psychology is not a toolkit for control. It is a mirror that reveals whether you are someone worth trusting, following, or emotionally opening to. The moment you try to bend these insights for selfish gain, your own inconsistencies become louder, sharper, impossible to conceal. Integrity is not optional in this terrain. It is the only thing that prevents self-destruction. As we arrive at the final truth, the deeper pattern becomes unmistakable. Everything you've learned is not merely about women. It is about the silent conversation between two psychologies trying to understand each other in a world that rarely teaches them how. And yet, one fact remains, the one that ties all the others together, the one most men overlook because it never reveals itself loudly. 21. Women fall for the emotional world a man creates, not the image he projects. Looks, status, charm, they spark interest. But the emotional atmosphere you generate, safety, clarity, direction, calm intensity, that is what forms attachment. A woman does not connect to your persona. She connects to the state of being that surrounds you when she is near. This is the quiet truth hidden behind centuries of misunderstanding. Women are not mysterious. They are responsive. They are not unpredictable. They are adaptive. They do not hide their psychology. They express it through signals most men were never taught to read. And now you see those signals clearly. The 21 dark facts you've uncovered are not rules to control anyone. They are lenses, tools for awareness, presence, emotional intelligence. They reveal the invisible forces shaping every interaction. Your coherence, your direction, your internal stability, your truth. If you look closely, this journey was never about decoding women. It was about discovering the man you become when you are seen through the eyes of another. Stripped of performance, exposed in your authenticity. In the quiet after these revelations, something shifts. Not loudly, not dramatically, but with the weight of understanding settling into the mind of someone who finally sees the architecture beneath the surface of human behavior. There is no need for tactics now. No need for masks, strategies, or borrowed confidence. Only the grounded awareness that psychology is not a battlefield. It is a mirror. Walk with this insight carefully. Walk with it honestly, and the dynamics that once felt chaotic will unfold with a clarity that feels almost cinematic.